Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Hey, what's going on, travelers? It's Ricky Ventures and Marlon Madden, and we're back with you for another episode of the Success Journey Show. What's going on, bro? How you doing today?
Oh, man. Maxing and relaxing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Relaxing.
Yeah, man. I'm in a new place today. This is the first time I'm recording in a hotel since our first year.
Mm.
A couple hotels since then.
Yeah. I have.
This is my first time. I remember we did like 2 or 3 episodes that night. We did Parag was one, and we did like 1 or 2 more that night.
Mm.
You know, it was crazy, man. When we started this off, everybody, we were recording multiple times a week. Like we were months ahead. I mean, at least 2 or 3 months ahead in backlog of episodes, man. It was awesome. It was awesome. So, I'm coming to you from a remote location, classified location, and
and I'm at the crib.
Yeah, he's at the crib. So, but yeah, man, we gonna jump into it today. But Marlon, let's just quickly remind them about the website, the scholarship, and everything else they can find on our website.
Yeah, successjourneyshow.com. We made it easy. Successjourneyshow.com. You can jump on there. You can find us. Successjourneyshow.com is the easiest thing. You can click up there. You can see where we have a scholarship. Our scholarship we just got in the Hartford Community College's journal, or their papers over there about our scholarship that we gave away the other day. And we would like for you guys to participate. What we did, we took all the proceeds from our clothing sales and some other stuff that we did, and not all of it, we have a percentage of it, and we gave it to, we created the Success Journey Show, SJS Scholarship.
Yes. Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah. SJS, everything works out. So Success Journey Scholarship. And what we're trying to do is make this an annual thing, but we only gave it to one student this time. What we're trying to do is we're trying to fold the room to have like at least 17, 18, 20, however many students that we can help to go through this process, because we just want to show these kids that we care, and there's somebody here behind them that's going to help them out in their endeavors. And that's what we're doing. So if you guys can donate now, the donation doesn't come straight to us. The way we set it up is because we want you to be able to write it off on your taxes. We understand that. So what we do is, hey, some of y'all got some extra money out there that you got to get rid of because Mr. IRS says, hey, if you don't donate it, if you don't give it away, we're going to take it from you. So what we did is we partnered with Hartford Community College, that when you go onto our link, the link is directly linked to their section of donation. And because they have the ability to get 501c foundation, if you can, when you donate, what happens is you get something in return for your taxes that you get that as a write-off. So one hand washes the other. We're helping you on one hand. We're helping you. Any little bit counts. I don't care if you give $5. If you only give $5, that's fine. If you could give $20, that's fine. Whatever you could give, we'll take it, and we're not going to be upset about it. All right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, man, this is exciting. It's exciting. The school that we worked with, they're excited. Everyone is just excited about this opportunity to work with their students. So, yeah, guys, go ahead. Like Marlon said, I'm not going to add any more to it. I'm going to go to the website. You'll see some more information floating around too. But check out that article, man. It's right on our website. And to see what we're doing, man. Excited work. So without further ado, man, we're going to jump right into our guest of this evening. Man, it's going to be exciting show. I don't know how many of you are hungry right now, but you know, I scrolled through all his information before the podcast, and I should not have done that. Because now I'm getting a little hungry. You'll hear why in a minute, but definitely stay tuned for this next segment. All right, everyone. Peace.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show. You can check us out on our social media on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Also on our website, thesuccessjourneyshow.com. Enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, travelers, we are back. Like I said, man, this is the our favorite part of the show. Marlon and I, we use this as a time carved out every single week to, create an opportunity for us to learn more about individuals and the impact they're making in the world. And today we have none other than Dennis Littley. I'll make sure I pronounce his last name right. Am I on it?
You got it.
Good. Awesome,
Ricky's
man.
on a roll. Ricky's on a roll with these last
man. Listen, Dennis I've had a track record in the past, a couple of years ago, of pronouncing everyone's name wrong. There was one guest, and I'm sorry if you're listening right now, I was pronouncing her name wrong through the whole podcast. It was bad. It was really bad. So I got to improve on this. So, Dennis, man, thank you for joining us today on the Success Journey Show. I promise I won't mess your name up. Why don't you start off with sharing with our travelers, our listeners around the world, which we call travelers, a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I've been a chef most of my life. I didn't start out as one. I was in food service in one way or another. I started flipping burgers when I was 12, went on to managing hamburger restaurants, and then I wound up at a nursing home doing food service because my mother was charge nurse there. So they had an opening, and it was Catholic home. So they weren't real particular about who they hired as long as they were breathing and took the salary. But I really lucked out there because I had a woman who had retired from the University of Pennsylvania Hospital as the head dietitian. And also she had also been the head of food services. So she was brilliant. And I learned a lot from her over the years. And I used to tell people, I had like a shelf life of about 4 years before people kind of got tired of me or I got tired of where I was. And I moved from there to there was an opening. One of my salesmen said, there's this guy in Ocean City and he's got a restaurant. He's looking just for somebody to help on the line, not a big position. And I just needed a change. So I took it, and I was like relegated to the end of the line where I was just loading stuff on trays and passing it down or put it in ovens, and not very glamorous, but I wasn't satisfied with that. So every time the owner would leave, I would watch I'd been watching what they were doing the whole night, and I would watch what they were cooking, and I was absorbing it. So the owner would leave and I'd jump in the corner and I'd start making the dinners. And we had a CIA graduate chef, and he would come out and see what I was doing, get ready to yell at me and go, "Oh, okay, you're good. Go ahead." Because cooking wasn't his favorite thing. He loved all other aspects of the journey, but just not particularly cooking. So over the course of the summer, I really kind of honed my skill and learned how to cook. Last Labor Day, the big close of the season for Ocean City, and the owner got stung by like 15 bees, and they had to drug him up just to knock him out. I didn't know this. I walk into work, and the chef goes, "Guess who's cooking tonight?" And I said, "Who?" He points to me and goes, "You are." I went, "Okay, we'll do that." And had a flawless night. Had one little incident in between. Somebody dropped something, but other than that, I made it through like a champ and kind of elevated my position very quickly in 2 years, from the guy loading stuff at the end to the guy cooking the stuff. So that's kind of what started my journey really in depth in food. I continued my training. I had a couple more years of really learning how to do stuff. But at that point, I was trusted in the corner. They knew I kind of knew what I was doing. I went back to school. Yeah, I went back to school and I got, my degree in food science and just kind of pulled everything back together. But, I was lucky at that time. I had another income in the house, so I could take next to nothing. And I was still young enough. It's hard as you get older and you have to take less money to make a move like that. So I was right place, right time.
I love it.
Yeah. That kind of changed my direction. And from there, I just went from different restaurants. I worked for that family on and off for 15 years. And the end of my career, my body started to fall apart. I had 2 carpal tunnel surgeries. My back was giving me problems. And I decided I needed to go into management. So I went into food service, dining service for some of the major corporations. And seems like I always found myself back in the kitchen because the food sucked. So I'd get back working and need another carpal tunnel surgery. And when I came back from that one, my boss was gone that I had been following around. And I called him and said, what happened? He goes, I went to this other company. We do schools. In fact, I get a job for you in Flowertown.
Oh, wow.
Flowertown. And I'm going to Flowertown? What's wrong with you? I'm not ready to put me out to pasture. So he says, go. So I went, and it was an all-girls Catholic high school right outside of Philadelphia, and a really nice place. But the kitchen was kind of like still about a century out of date. It was, it was clean. It was, everything was good, but it was like the equipment, and I'm looking at it in the storerooms, and I'm going, oh, how do I nicely tell these nuns that I'm not interested? And the principal said, that they got the wrong guy. The principal turns and goes, and you work 165 days a year. And without even a pause, I went, when would you like me to start? Because I only had to work 165 days a year. So I was like, damn, I can do that. Yeah. So that got me to that point. And, but I was manager, and food was terrible. So I moved myself back into the position of cooking. And then from that point, it became like a made-for-TV movie. The girls had never eaten so well. I didn't know what to feed kids, so I fed them like I've been feeding adults all my life, and that worked out well. They painted a mural of me on the cafeteria wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was
that good. Is that good, man?
I started, for them. Yeah, I started a culinary program there. And started training my own staff for functions. So that worked out really, really well. And when I started the culinary program, blogging was brand new. That was 2009. And it was really new. So I'd heard about this. I went to their IT department, and she set up a blog for me and showed me how to work it. And it was ugly, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I wanted a place for the girls to go, and they were having none of it. They just wanted to come in the office and talk to me. And kids at the school started going to it. Teachers started going to it. And I joined a blogging group. And next thing I know, I got readers all over the world. Not a lot of them, but I got, reader in Singapore. I had a reader in New Zealand. And I'm going, how the hell does this happen? So that kind of started the journey. And a lot of rough spots, a lot of things you need to learn. One of the things that was the biggest detriment was no one would tell you anything. There was the elite bloggers, and there were the rest of us peons, and there was only like a dozen elite. And you'd never know. They were afraid to let you know anything because you were going to steal their thunder. So,
yeah.
So every time I learned something, I would write about it on my blog. I was doing food recipes, but then I would do a section called Ask Chef Dennis. That was kind of it. And that's how I became Ask Chef Dennis. I kind of morphed from the school blog, which, I go, I'm not going to be here for the rest of my life. I should make that brand change now. So I officially became Ask Chef Dennis. And about the time I did that, I don't know if you guys remember Google Plus.
Yeah. I remember that.
Google Plus came out, and I had found my people. I loved it there, and I worked it really hard. And Google, because I was doing what they wanted with the platform, they rewarded me by putting me on the follow list with Anthony Bourdain, Rachel Ray, Martha Stewart, Emer Lagasse, and here I am. So that is what elevated me. Still not a lot of money, but at least I was getting recognition.
We're gonna get back to that point. Yeah.
And from that point on, it was just a matter of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, trying to find the right formula. A lot of error along the way, losing your way, trying to reestablish yourself, finding different methods that are working. And I always tell people like a blog is like painting a bridge, because when you get done, you think you get everything done and set up, you got to start all over again because Google changes stuff, things change. So, so that's the journey, and I'm still on that journey. I'm painting that bridge.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
We used to live by, it's crazy. A lot of places when we're talking in the background, in the green room, we should say, a lot of places Dennis have been, I either lived there or Ricky is there, right? And so we lived by CIA. I used to take a lot of students up to CIA up in Hyde Park, New York.
Yep.
Yeah.
I took my girls there the last year I was there. I got so tired because all of them went to college. They weren't all white collar. Some were blue collar. It was a mix, but every one of them went to college.
Yeah.
I got so tired of hearing, "Oh, chef, maybe after regular college, we'll go to culinary." And I'm like, "It is regular college."
Hey, it's an expensive college.
Yeah, well, so I put them on a bus and we drove up to Hyde Park, and they got out of that bus with their little mouths wide open going, "Oh my."
Wow. Yeah.
It's a nice
beautiful campus. Beautiful campus. Yeah.
Beautiful campus. I don't know if I'm remembering the numbers correctly, but correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you know, or I think you should know. They said that there was like 500 master chefs in the world or in the country, and CIA had 50 of them on deck teaching.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I believe that. I'm sure that's accurate. They have a very good grasp of what needs to be taught, and they change as the time has changed. When we were up there, one of the classes that they had to take was they had to make it was a baked good, and they had to make it gluten-free, they had to make it dairy and egg-free, and they had to make it regular, and they all had to be identical. They had to look the same. They had to taste the same.
Wow.
So I mean, this is amazing, because this is what the new chefs need to do. They need to be able to work with specialty diets, because there's so many of them. It's a whole new field. You can teach anybody to make something one way, but to be able to teach them to adapt it, that's a real gift.
Wow. That's crazy, man. I love it. I didn't even know that they went to that level.
CIA is no joke. CIA is no joke.
Yeah.
Wow.
And John Wales? What's the one in Florida?
Oh, Johnson and Wales.
Johnson and Wales.
Yeah, that's in Connecticut, I think, or Rhode Island. One of those two. I can never remember. That's where the main campus was. Yeah. And then they have satellites pretty much all over the country.
Right. Yeah. I know they go number 1, number 2. They go back and forth with each other.
Wow. Yeah, Dennis, man, I resonated with the first part of your story and flipping burgers. I had my fair share of working behind the
I remember that. McDonald's.
I came in and I was like, "Hey, man, I want to work at the cashier." I was like, "Yeah, that's why I want to work. I don't want to work back there." So I go in the first day and they're like, "All right, here's your assignment. You're on the grill." It's like, man, I thought I said I wanted to be on the cashier. I don't want to be here. But you need cashiers, man. So, man, they put me back there, and I had a good time, man. I was making up my own things on the menu, off the menu. I was making up my own sandwiches. I was like, "Yeah, man, you guys, I don't know what it's called, but you probably can't order it, but I'm having it for my lunch today." Man. Yep. Yeah. What as you was going through your journey, you mentioned one thing about I was building up, I was blowing up. You were with the top names, the Martha Stewarts, forget the other names you mentioned, but that's when that resonated with me the most. But you said, "Hey, I wasn't getting paid a lot, even though I'm getting recognized." And the reason why I want to talk about this is because there are a lot of people, especially, after the blogging came the social media, right? Yeah. And the different platforms, and people are like, "Oh, I got this many out of followers." And like, "Oh man, you must be rich. You got 100,000 followers or whatever, or 50,000 or 1,000, whatever, followers." What was that like for you? And when did that transition happen, when did the monetary actually start to match the level of effort, if it ever did?
Oh, it did. And then it surpassed it. It was a while. I mean, when we moved to Florida, when I retired from cooking professionally, because my body was just shot and my mind was not far behind it. We moved to Florida. The blue skies kind of cheered me up, and I got back on track and doing things. But I was also doing a lot with Google, and I was doing a lot of live streaming. And this was before live streaming was popular. In fact, I ran the first virtual conference that ever was on Google Plus.
Wow.
And even Google was shocked when I told them what I wanted to do. They're going, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I'm like, yeah. We had a virtual cocktail party on Friday night. And then we had sessions it was mostly about food blogging, but all different sessions on food blogging, on social medias. We had 2 days of that. And I ran 3 years of them. And I was really lucky because I met people from all over the world that were brilliant in their field, and they would spend time with me. They would, I'd call them and they'd say, "Sure, I'll be on the show. I do this." So that, like I said, I wasn't making money, but I was getting a lot of authority. I was building my brand. It was bringing me up a level. Even though my traffic was not that great on the blog, I was making like maybe $200-300 a month off the traffic on my blog, which was, and at that point, I was like, wow, I'm making something. I was, somebody wanted to pay me $50 to write a post, and I was like, oh my God, someone wants to pay me. And now the joke with my wife is I don't put pants on for $50. So
Yeah, right. I don't even wake up.
No. But it was, again, there's always that right place, right time, and people excel quickly. For the most part, that doesn't work. That's not how it is. You bang away and you bang away and you bang away and you make mistakes, and hopefully you learn from them. Yeah. And then you keep banging away. Because when I first started, I was trying to be everything to everybody and trying to copy everybody instead of being myself. When I settled down and started being myself and started writing in my voice and doing the recipes that I thought I should be doing, that's when the traffic started to pick up. And when I started making a little money, the first thing I did was I hired someone to do some of the work I did not like to do. Because I did not like Pinterest, and so I hired a young lady who loved it. And she elevated a lot of my posts by sharing them on Pinterest. So my traffic perked up big time. And then I just reinvested a little bit more. We were lucky. I wasn't putting food on the table with the money. I have friends in a situation where they can't spend it because they got to put food on the table. But at this point it was extra money. It wasn't going to be extra money for much longer. I was hitting the wall, but for what we had saved and everything, it was extra. So I was able to reinvest and spend money. So by doing that, you make money. To make money, you spend money. It's true. And the trick is finding things that are going to benefit you from the expenditure. And that's not always easy because people sell you a whole bill of goods. They tell you how good they are. They can do this for you. And I've had enough of those that didn't work. So you just have to weed through them, hope for the best, find somebody else, and keep moving and keep moving forward. So I think it was 2015 was the first year I really made money. Yeah, I made about 30 grand that year. And that was more than I had, because at the point I'm going, if I can make $1,000 a month, we'll be okay. So this was a lot more. And I had gone to an accountant. I figured, I got to get an accountant now. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've been in trouble with the IRS before. I'm going back there. So the accountant was like, "What do you do again?" It was a friend of a friend. He says, "You blog? You make money from that?" Because it's still relatively new. The world of the influencer had not taken over yet. Yeah. So and it just kept banging away. The next year it almost doubled, and the next year it almost doubled, and just again hiring more people, putting more things in place. And just doubling down on some things, not everything worked. Some things were a crapshoot. Some things worked really well. Some things, I hired someone to advertise on Google for me, and she's doing advertising. She's doing pretty good. And it's cost me 18 cents per click. So it's a click per cost. Yeah. So I'm losing, like 12 cents on each click. So I'm going, this ain't working. 13 cents. So I said, I'm going to stop doing this. I says, she goes, "What do you need it to be?" I said, "I need to be like 4 to 6 cents a click." "Oh, I can do that." And I'm thinking, What do you mean you can do that? Yeah. Why the hell haven't you been doing it? So, but it worked out well. Now I'm actually making money from advertising, not a lot, but I haven't been losing it for a while. And
yeah.
But it's just, you gotta let some stuff go and let other people do it. But at the same token, you can't not pay attention to what they're doing. Because as soon as you just stop paying attention, then shame on you.
Start losing.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. It's crazy. We have a couple more. Yeah, we have some time on the show, so I'm not gonna compound the question.
Okay.
Supply chain management. I know you had to, as a chef.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you had to be able to understand and comprehend in order to keep your kitchen running.
Yeah.
And do you think that helped you when it came over to the business side of the blogging? How did that transfer, or how did that help you all in all when it comes to business?
I don't know so much of the supply chain aspect of it, because I think being a chef offered me a lot of insights into running a business. And I was just I was on with the guy from the World Chefs Association, and chefs are very interested in becoming bloggers too. It's always like, what can we do in our next life kind of thing. And I said, well, it's like you hire someone to cut your vegetables. Well, you hire someone to do Pinterest, or you hire someone to do social media. So that clicked right away in his head, and that made perfectly sense to him. So in a restaurant, if you try to do it all yourself, you're going to die. You're just, you have to delegate. But you have to train those people sometimes, or most of the times you should train them. Sometimes you get somebody who's trained already, if you're lucky, but you have to train that person, then you have to delegate, then you have to manage them. I remember sometime long ago in my first management career, the definition of management was getting work done through others. So that means, not micromanaging them, but giving them some leash, but making sure they're actually doing what their job is supposed to be. And so everybody can be successful together. So, that aspect of running a restaurant and running it, I think running it when there's all these fires to put out, and the kind of restaurant I was in was just like it was madness. And we were at the shore, so it was either madness or we were taking a nap, one of the two. There was not a lot of in between. So the fact that I was able to deal with madness on a regular basis, some of the stuff that happened to me in blogging was like, people go, how do you stay so calm? I said, well, what choice do I have? It's either freak out and do nothing, or stay calm and move ahead. It's a conscious decision. Either you put your head down and you work through it. My wife says, you just don't let go of anything. If you've got a problem, you work it till it's done. Just rarely see me just walk away from something and give up. It's like, and I said, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. And I go back to Yoda, you'll fail because you do not try.
Man.
So you failed. Yoda. Yeah.
I love this aspect of fail. You mentioned it quite a few times as you've been talking. A lot of people are afraid of that failure aspect of it. And I even talk personally. I hate talking around the bush. So even for me, there were times where, going through that whole grind of, all right, I'm trying to build something. And then you get to that point where, okay, something finally worked. You start seeing some money coming in from what you're building. And then it's like, all right, now you got to spend the money that's coming in. You're like, wait a minute. I don't know if I want to spend the money. It's just coming in.
I know.
No, I don't want to do it. But I love how you keep saying, you keep growing and failing and growing and failing. And it reminds me of, I forget what the book name was, but Failing Fast. I don't know if you read that book or aware of it. Yeah. It's a good back. It's a good book. And really just tells people not to be afraid of failure, but through failure, your births and other opportunities grows tremendously. Opportunities grow tremendously because you know what not to do, right? It said Edison tried to build a light bulb, 99?
Oh, yeah.
999 times or something like that before it actually worked.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? But people are afraid of failing. So I'm really appreciating what you're saying here because you're showing the full gamut. Like, hey, I failed at times, right? And I didn't always win, right? It's not a story of I tried it and it went off. Like me and you, we both started on flipping the grill, and I'm not a master chef,
Oh. And I don't know about you, but I stuck my hand in that grill more than once and had to get it off. Right? Had to get it off with a hamburger turner.
I was going to go somewhere with this, and I completely got sidetracked with my own little joke there. But talk to us about what is it? So finding the right people, to help support and build up. Because you said it's something very key, right? It's not just about hiring the right people, but then nurturing that person, not completely letting it go, but nurturing that person until they are duplicating, what you have put out there and even better, right? I think a lot of people, and I know I've done it myself, where we hire some people like, all right, man, you got to go take it and run with it. You got it, take it. But
some days are like that. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, some days you just have to do that just to give yourself a breath. But then you need to come back and make sure that person isn't underwater too. Right away from the beginning, if I wanted a day off, I had to have someone to take my place. So that meant training the people that were next to me how to do that. So that was a skill set that I learned immediately. In the industry, it was like, I need a day off. I got to make sure this person knows how to cook. Then I got to make sure this person knows how to cook in case that person doesn't come in. Otherwise, I'm coming in on my day off, and I don't want to do that. So, it's a matter of training. And it'll come back to bite you sometimes too. I was in a corporate situation, and I got rear-ended. And I couldn't stand up. I was falling sideways. I couldn't stand up. My equilibrium was off. I kept going, and I had to do monthly paperwork, and I had to keep going in the freezer to shock myself for a little while so I could go back and work some more. Then I'd go back in the freezer, and
wow.
I called for help, and my boss was away, and the person that had 7 assistant managers couldn't free one up to come over and take over for me. So I trained 2 people how to do all the paperwork, how to do everything. And then as soon as I had them trained, my boss calls, he goes, we're going to cut back on some budgets. And, you did such a good job training people. We don't need you here anymore. We're going to send you somewhere else. I'm like, damn.
Hey, that's a good leader. You trained yourself out of a job.
Yeah, damn.
That's the epitome of a good leader.
Oh, so I ended up at a summer camp. I was like, how the hell did this happen? But I had fun there anyway because we had a good time feeding the kids. But it's you have to be ready to make those kind of transitions, and finding a staff, whether it's 1 person, 2 people, or 5 people, or just a VA, someone who can share on Twitter for you or share on Facebook for you, something that's simple. I had 1 person, and I had to actually make videos for her to show her how to use Buffer. And once she got it. You teach somebody like that, they'll be doing it that way until the end of time, unless you change it.
Correct.
So it's a matter of spending that time just so you can spend that time just watching Netflix and not have to worry about something going wrong, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
To give yourself some quality of life. And again, like I said, you can't be afraid to fail, because the only path to success is through failure. Because if you're afraid to fail, you're never going to try. And if you don't try, you'll never succeed. So, it's just a matter of not letting yourself get too beat down from it. You can't just kick constant failure. You have to really apply.
Yeah. So speaking of Netflix, have you ever seen that show? I don't know if it's on Netflix or not. Maybe on Amazon Prime. Chef.
I saw Chef. There's a new one out there. It's called, I can't think of it. People are telling me about it, though. I did see Chef, though. I like that.
Okay. Yeah. I really love that movie, man. It really gave a inside perspective or a different perspective from the chef perspective in their lifestyle. I don't know how true it all was, but it definitely, for someone that's knows nothing about the chef world, just seeing it behind the scenes a little bit and just the struggle of having that opportunity to be creative and be yourself, but also having to answer to what the owners of the restaurant want, the leader of the restaurant want. And talk about that. Have you ever encountered something like that where your creativity you felt was, maybe stifled and, you felt like this wasn't, the place for you to be?
Yes, I have. It only happened really once in my career. And it was my own fault because I needed a stopgap job. I knew it wasn't going to be what I wanted it to be. And I had a real difficult time working to that capacity. I almost felt like I was shortchanging myself. But it was something that I had to do. Then I worked. I did that twice. I did that once before I went to one place, and then I knew I only needed 3 months at this other place, and I went to work for them. And I have all these. I can do all this stuff, and they had a hierarchy there, so the chef kind of knew who I was and what I could do. So it was a big catering funk. We did a lot of catering there. So my job pretty much was to look for plates. That was it. I had to restock the plates. That was it. So, hey, wow. I was getting paid some, and then one night he doesn't show up. The other guy doesn't show up. And they throw the keys to me and say, you're running things tonight. I went, okay. So I just stepped into the corner where it was cooking, and I had a menu and I'm making stuff. And this one owner comes down and he goes, that doesn't go in there. He goes, yes, it does. He goes, no, it doesn't. And I pull the menu up and says, yeah, it's right there. See, it goes in it. So, he didn't even know what was going in the food. But
oh, wow.
Yeah. So after that, they weren't, I wasn't there much longer after that, which was probably a good thing because I made them look really bad.
Yeah. Let's one more question, Mark. I hate to Bogart.
No. You're good.
I'm looking. I'm all of our travelers. As Dennis is talking, I'm like, and picking up different things that he's saying. And one thing he's saying, find things that you don't like to do, find someone else to do it, train them up, things of that nature. So, Dennis, I went on your Instagram account. As we were talking, phenomenal photos. I told everyone before the show, before you even got on, that, man, I don't know why I looked at your Instagram account before the show, because now I'm hungry, looking at all this great food. But I said, you know what? Let me scroll all the way down to your first post compared to your most recent post. And with me, with the creative eye I have and just knowing photography and all that kind of stuff a little bit, I can see the difference, right? I can see the difference, and I can see the professionalism grow. But I also can see behind this, and I can see there. And I'm going on an assumption here. I need you to confirm it for me. Yeah, confirm or deny. There was a time when you were just snapping the photos yourself.
Oh,
after you got done, snap my photo the best you could. But now I don't. Based on what I've seen, I don't know if you're the one snapping the photos now. I'm not trying to diss your skills, but is that true, or how do you?
Well, let me tell you. When Instagram first started, I loved Instagram because it was all about taking candid stuff with your phone.
Yeah.
Okay. And then all of a sudden, my friends started posting all these polished Photoshop pictures. I'm going, what the hell? This is supposed to be fun. Now you just suck the life out of another social media, so I started polishing them. Now I take almost all of my pictures, almost all of them.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yes. Now, if you see cakes, the cakes are not mine. I have a young lady in Canada who shoots and they're my recipes, but she's been reshooting all my old stuff for me. And that is very simply because when the pandemic started, I started cooking like a fool again. I had forgotten. I tell everybody I had forgotten that I love to cook. I was so busy being a travel blogger and social media strategist that I wasn't cooking at home enough. I wasn't making enough stuff. We would be going out to eat. Pandemic hit, couldn't go out. So I'm ordering food online. I'm getting meats from small farms. I'm getting fish from Alaska. I'm having a great time. And I'm cooking like just nobody's business, which included baking. So I go for my exam, my yearly exam, and my blood work, and my blood sugar comes back at 148. I went, oh no, with everything else that's wrong with me, I will not be diabetic. So I stopped eating cakes, pies, bread, got my blood sugar way back down. And in the interim, I hired this young lady to make all the cakes, because when it comes to cakes, I'm kind of like a puppy.
Yeah, you see it.
I will eat till I burst. Like right now, I'd be going, oh, I think there's cake. There's cake out there. I can hear it. It's calling me. So
all the way in Canada.
Yeah. Well, again, it's one of those things.
What part of Canada?
She is right outside of Niagara Falls on the other side, and I wish I could tell you what town that is, but she's just on the other side of the bridge. And it was a process, and she is like number maybe 10 out of photographers I've tried to hire, and a lot of stuff. People again sell you a bill of goods. I like available light photography. All of my entree shots, all of those are all things I do with available light. I bounce light off. I have a little table I set up. I've gone to these vinyl rolls that look like a cutting board, like the cutting board in the pictures. The current ones isn't really a cutting board. It's a vinyl roll. It looks really, really good though. And take them with a bouncing light off of it. And then I do very little to them in Photoshop, because I was a photographer back in the days of film. And the way I shot, we were very particular about how you shot. So, it was a big format. So I would get 10 pictures to a roll. So you set pictures up. So I only shot one or two of something. When digital came out, it was like, I remember George Harrison comparing when he got to write his own albums, it was like being unconstipated, when he was allowed to actually write so much. Well, that's how I felt when I got digital camera. I was like, oh my God, I need 200 shots of that. It was like, because you weren't developing film, there wasn't any cost associated to it. And then after I calmed down, I'm going, wow, it's just too much work. I just need to take maybe 2 pictures of each thing at that, and just make sure the light's good. So I don't need to it. So then I got back to doing that. But I love taking my own pictures. I love it. Yeah, I hated taking step-by-step pictures, which was something that was very important. And I fought it tooth and nail for a long time. And then finally my SEO guy said, Dennis, stop being stupid and start taking the damn pictures. I was like, okay. So now it's like step 1, take a picture, take it back to the stove. Step 2, take a picture, take it back to the stove. And I'm like, oh.
No, that even speaks even more volumes to just the level in which your photography is now versus when you started.
Oh yeah.
It was the amount of work and the energy you put into perfecting your craft. That's a testament of just keep going at it and digging and improving and things of that nature. Because guys, if you guys, go on Instagram and go under Chef Dennis, you'll see what I'm talking about. The pictures are amazing. They are, and it's consistency of posting, consistency, a variety of different foods. Dennis, like, what is it like in your house, man? Are you cooking like crazy like this at home every day? Like, do you take a break and let your wife do the cooking?
Oh no, we can't go there. No. She's, bless her heart, that is not her skill set. So, she was the breadwinner for quite a while when I stepped back from restaurants, and she was making the higher salary and letting me work at the school where, I wasn't getting paid a lot or work for because it's always give and take. It's quality of life versus the dollars, So she was making enough that I could step back and we could have more of a quality of life. And now, she wants to go back to work, and I kept telling her, I don't know why you want to. I says, you don't need to, because she's a teacher. She still loves to teach.
Yeah.
So, but I said, we don't need it. You're actually driving me up into another tax bracket. Okay, so we don't.
IRS again, huh?
This year, I'm telling you, I was like, I got congratulations from my accountant, and then the bad news was like, you owe the IRS more money than we thought. So I was like, okay, I had a good year. I can't complain. I made money. I pay taxes. That's the way I look at it. But
that's the only way you can look at it.
I know. Otherwise, you got one of them orange jumpsuits on.
Yeah, exactly. You gonna pay some way.
Yeah. But I cook in spurts, so I'll get creative. Like I'll order some different, like a bunch of different meats or things, and then I'll cook them all, and I'll write the recipes down as I'm making them. And then the pictures are on the side. So then later on, I'll go back and I'll do the pictures, and then I'll write the blog post, or I'll start it and then decide. So I try to keep a bank of maybe, 10 to 20 things that I've shot that are ready to go. And then sometimes I change my mind and go, well, that's horrible, I'm not doing that. And then 3 months later, I'll look at it and go, I don't know why I didn't like that. That looks pretty good. And then between the cakes that this young lady is shooting for me, she helps build out some of the other stuff for me. So I keep a good enough that I can keep moving. And I cook what I want to eat. When people say, I just got off the call with one of my new SEO guys, and he says, yeah, I hear people tell me that they make what they like to eat and what they like to cook, and that's not how it's supposed to be done. I'm like, okay. It's been working for me so far. But, and I always preface it with this, I don't search keywords to decide what I'm going to make. I decide what I'm going to make, and then after I made it, I search the keywords, because I'm not a dummy. I know how the game plays, but I don't necessarily make the decision based on what I think will do well in search. And a lot of bloggers do. They look to see, all right, well, let's see, what can I put on my editorial calendar for this? Well, this has got a high search count. Let's make this. Let's decide a high search count. Let's make this. So to me, that is like sucking the joy out of something. It's like taking the honesty and the integrity and the deliciousness out of it. It's got to be part of your heart and soul when you make something. Like when I make something and I surprise myself, it's so good. I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea it was going to be this good. I know it's going to be good, but when I get something like that, like I had made this dish called chicken chasseur. It's like a hunter's chicken with mushrooms and stuff. And when I made it, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I made my first ever hot tuna salad. Chef Dennis did not eat hot tuna fish. It just wasn't in his wheelhouse.
No tuna melts or anything, man.
Tuna melt's a whole different thing. But to make a casserole, I was like, I just don't see the point. Well, a tuna fish company hired me and paid me a good amount of money, so I made a tuna casserole, and I made a fancy tuna casserole. It had sun-dried tomatoes in it. It had mushrooms in it. It had olives in it. It had, I put bacon in it. No bacon in it. but it had a lot of really good stuff. And I made a white sauce for it and made it. And when I sat down after I took my pictures, I said, oh, let me eat some. And it was getting cold by then. Well, I almost finished it. I said, oh my God, this is good. And then I had the other half of the casserole. My wife ate it. She goes, this is really good. I says, I know. Who knew tuna casserole was good?
Gonna hit, right? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Now,
So
Dennis,
I
was going to ask you about a lot of restaurants are famous because of that chef menu.
Yes.
Talk about. That's why I want to know the intricacy of making a menu, because you're saying right now, like, hey, I'm surprised. I've surprised myself with this tuna casserole. Now, how do you prepare a menu that you're gonna say? Do you say I make a menu and then you change it, and then you say, hey, I'm gonna build around this, and this, or how does that work? Because I don't understand that world.
Well, the times that I've written menus, I try to draw from my experience at all different restaurants I've worked at, or things that I've seen, or things that I've eaten. Okay, that's where my experience comes from. So when I made a menu, the thing is, well, these days it's easy because most people print them on computers and can change it. In the old days when you had to send it out and the menu was being printed, there weren't any changes. It was hard, So the idea is to make it large enough without making it overbearing. So, there would always be a pasta. Most of the restaurants I worked in were an Italian variety. Okay, so there was also a pasta course. And then there was your chicken. There was your pork and beef in one, and then there was your seafood. So, because then seafood was always last, because that was generally the most expensive on the menu. So, just setting it up, and then you want some foundation. Depends on what kind of a restaurant and what kind of people you want to serve, not what kind of people, what kind of demographic with money wise, target wise. Are we going for all of them? Are we going for the upper? Are we going just for the middle? I mean, who do we want to satisfy? What kind of clientele do we want? And I was always kind of greedy. I wanted them all. I wanted to cook inexpensive dishes for the people that like to come out, but they really couldn't afford it. And I like to cook, some of the higher end things for the people that, that had the money to do it. And there was always crossover because there's people that can't afford it every now and then will splurge. And the people that can afford it every now and then will want to try something that looks really good, but it's only $12. I don't care. I'm going to try that. It's you get past that stigma of it not being expensive enough, So I wanted to train my clientele, train my customers to trust the process and to eat just because it sounded really good. So building that menu, then, again, you just have to try and satisfy a few different flavors of tastes, and then you rely on your specials to build out everything else.
So speaking about menus, I want to talk about portion sizes, right? So, and you made a mention of, what class you're maybe targeting with your menu, middle class, upper class, whatever it may be. How come, and this is a question I've always had for chef, how come it seems like, and I could be wrong, but it seems like the higher the price, the less food you get.
Isn't that crazy? Not in my restaurants.
Okay.
Never in my restaurants. I know, it's insane. I'm like, I'm still hungry. The worst thing in the world that a chef can do is let someone leave hungry. Now granted,
that's your job. Your job is to fill somebody up.
Yeah, not to give them tiny food to charge them, So I have never found any kind of logic to that way of thinking. That and raw food too. Like I remember there was a raw restaurant. I'm going, wait a minute. None of this stuff's cooked. Do nothing. Yeah. Or used to bug me. My friends loved to go to the melting pot. And I'm going, wait a minute, I got to cook my own food? Who thought this stuff up?
A chef that didn't like to cook?
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. I says, and we're boiling everything? I says, who the hell boils meat and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh my God. But they love going for the cheese was good. Cheese was good. Chocolate was a little too sweet, but the cheese was good. But yeah, it's you need a balance. Again, you need substance. And I talk to people about building out recipes. And I was taught really how to cook with mushrooms, and I always tell people, well, I like mushrooms. I really do. I always have. But they build out the plate. They add volume. So sometimes we're working with ingredients that you may not necessarily think should go in there, but it's adding volume to the plate. So it's giving you more. Just like with pasta. I go out to order pasta and they give you like this little bit. And I go, cheapest thing in the restaurant, give me a decent portion, or we got I judge all Italian restaurants on whether they can make a decent chicken parm or not.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So we ordered one the other night, and I'm telling you, the portion was big enough for two people. It was huge. but they had like 3 chicken parms stacked on top of each other, but only the top one had sauce and cheese. I'm like, well, what the hell?
What in the world?
You gave me some chicken cutlets and 1 chicken parm here.
Yes.
I said Peyton Manning would not be happy. No, so
Oh, man.
but and the sauce was okay. But the portion was huge. But at least I wasn't hungry when I was done. I might not have been entirely happy, but at least I wasn't hungry. So
yeah. Oh man, dude,
is it like for us? Is it like for us? Like, so because we used to create music so much, I can hardly listen to a lot of different music because I'm like, man, it's not put together well.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I think about the music, especially today. It's not put together well. So is it the same thing for you? You go out to eat, you're not really enjoying the food unless, you have your restaurant that okay, this is good and I always get that.
Mm-hmm.
But how is your taste buds going around to different? Do you go and have a burger at McDonald's?
I haven't in a long time, but I love McDonald's burgers. Okay. Yeah. And just give me, but it's got to be a double burger because the single there's like almost no meat there anymore. But I love the flavor. Just something about that just takes me back to when I was a kid. And, I do like that. But I like a really good burger. And I have not found one in a while. I've been trying. I don't eat that much red meat anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, but every now and then I want a burger and I want it to be a good burger and I don't want it to be dry. I got one that sounded interesting the other day. It was the heck was it? It was like it had fried pickles on it too. So it sounded interesting, but it was dry and just, oh man, there weren't enough condiments on it. I'm like, I shouldn't eat anything. Best burger I ever had in my life was in Paris. Best burger. And we had been traveling for about 6 weeks. And I said, I just need something American. Says, give me a burger. It came out, in Paris. And they were not this was one of the very few places where they were not happy to see Americans. Most of them were pretty good. But they sent the burger out and it mooed at me when it came out. That's how raw it was. But it was the best burger I've ever had. It was delicious.
Wow. Wow. Man. Dennis, man, this has been a amazing conversation just from the perspective of a chef. I think we've had maybe one other chef before in the past.
We had a couple people that bake and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's right. Bakers, all that kind of stuff. But we loved hearing your perspective because I believe you're the most seasoned chef. I'm
the oldest one you've had on so far. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah. I like the season though. I like the season.
I like that too. I like that's good. Season sounds good.
And I'm really just enjoying just hearing your journey from your humble beginnings to just taking advantage of opportunities that as they came to you and learning and growing and falling in love with food to even sharing that passion with your children and bringing them to the CIA, all that kind of stuff, man. It's just an amazing story. And for some people, you went through parts of your journey where other people probably didn't understand what you were doing or why you were doing it. They probably tasted your food and said, man, you shouldn't be here. You should be somewhere else. Or, they saw you with your blogging. Like, man, why are you wasting your time blogging about food? Just keep cooking, right? All these different things, that you see. But as you see in your story, you weren't afraid to try things and grow and grow. And one thing that we like to ask all of our guests at the end of the show is, if you had an opportunity to go back to that young man that was, getting his hands stuck on the
grill,
on the stove, on the grill, right? And you had 1 minute to pull him aside and just knowing what you know now, just share with him a few words for 60 seconds. Like, what would you say to him?
I would tell him, don't despair. It's always darkest before the dawn, and your life is going to suck for a while, but then it's going to get a whole lot better.
Yes,
I love it. Go ahead, Marlon. You were going to say something?
No, I was going to say, Chef, I'm really happy. The thing that I love about what Ricky said and a testament to your story is that it's about food and transition to blogging and and all the different things that you're doing, but it's still a journey where hard work, dedication, dream, drive, discipline, diligence, and that's our four our quad Ds. Ricky showed you right there: dream, drive, discipline, and diligence. We call it the quad Ds. That we say if you apply that to any portion of life, no matter what it is, cooking, you can be successful in whatever you do. So it just resonated with me because I look back at the dream, drive, discipline, and diligence. Just like Ricky said, when you're at the end of the table, at the end, all the way at the side, just passing whatever they want until you got that time to cook.
Yeah.
Then you just started to show how much you can do. And you just kept on persevering till today you don't put on your pants for $50.
No. No, not even one shoe, I don't think. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Those days are long gone. But I always tell people everybody's got to start somewhere. Don't ever be, even in the restaurant. I was the executive chef. Dishwasher needed a break. There was nobody to break him. I went over and gave him a break. I can wash dishes. I can wash pots. You don't ever want to forget where you started. You don't ever want to forget the people that are working hard for you to do things. It's not just about you. It's about, for anything you're going to do, any endeavor you take, it takes a village. You never get anything done by yourself. And if you do, you're going to end up making yourself crazy because it's not sustainable.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before you leave, can you just share with all of our travelers where they can find your information? I know I mentioned the Instagram, but I know there's so many other places that they can find your stuff and how they can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. I am askchefdennis.com, and you can find my email on my website, and across all social media, I'm Ask Chef Dennis. So you can find me on Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I have a very small presence there. I'm still working on that one. Old habits, old dogs take a lot more training.
You gotta get your dance moves up, man. You got the dance move with the cakes in your hand.
Let me tell you, I have had people tell me that, and who knows? Maybe it will happen.
Yeah, love it. We're travelers. We come to the end of another show. So grateful for our guest today, Dennis Littley. Did I get that right? I'm still on there.
Littley.
Littley. Oh, Littley. I heard. I got stuck with the Italian, and I was like, man, maybe
I have been Littley. Called Little before, though. That's so funny that you went that way.
Oh man, Dennis Littley. Thank you so much for joining us, man. I couldn't make it through the whole show. Making a mistake.
Oh my goodness!
Anyway,
messed it up.
Thank
Dennis will never come back.
Anytime you want me, I'm back. I loved it. I had a great time.
Appreciate it, Dennis. Thank you so much for joining us and all of our travelers around the world. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week at the same time, the same place on the Success Journey Show. Everyone have a good one. Peace.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.